Tonight, carbon tax challenge denied.
Today's decision is a win for Canadians and for future generations.
A court decides Canada can put a national price on emissions. So where might opponents go from here?
I'm happy. It's a long-awaited news.
The enormous success of HIV treatment drugs. Why can't all Canadians who need them get them?
Who knows? Hope it's soon.
I'm sure she does too.
Yeah.
And anxiously awaiting the royal baby. Why he or she will get a very different kind of royal treatment. This is The National. In their war against the Liberal carbon tax, the provinces that don't want it are using multiple tools and fighting on multiple fronts. Not just political strategies, but legal challenges. And not just in one court, but in several. But today, an indication that they're in for a tough fight after they lost a battle in Saskatchewan. Now, in a narrow 3-2 decision, its Court of Appeal said Ottawa can impose a price on carbon in provinces that don't already have plans to deal with greenhouse gas emissions. No question, it is a victory for the Prime Minister. But as Salima Shivji explains, the dissenting Premier's legal strategy far from over, and the political fight is fully on.
Justice Trudeau, we have a message.
At a youth summit in front of a protest for more action on climate change, the Prime Minister was quick to talk up a big win for his government today.
The federal government absolutely can and must regulate greenhouse gas emissions.
And his environment minister used the legal ruling to send a political message.
It is an essential part of any credible plan to tackle the global challenge of climate change. I really would ask Conservative politicians to stop fighting climate action in the courts and start fighting climate change with us.
Unlikely. The ruling may be a blow for Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, but for him, the legal battle won't be over until the Supreme Court says it is.
This was a split decision. There are two judges on this panel that have indicated that, in fact, this tax is not constitutional, and there is good grounds for an appeal.
Never mind the legal wrangling. In the political battle, Moe has a strengthening coalition of allies.
Premier Kenny for the great victory. I can't even wipe the smile off my face. So congratulations. Thank you so much.
Two of the Conservative premiers who have vowed to fight the Trudeau Liberals tooth and nail on the carbon tax talked strategy today.
Got a majority of provinces and territories who want jobs, who want to get our energy to markets, who oppose the job-killing carbon tax.
Ontario is one of 3 other provinces with court challenges.
It was a close one, 3-2, but this series isn't over yet. That's game 1. We still have other games to play. We have the Ontario game to play.
It's unlikely the Supreme Court would hear any case before the fall election, so expect the issue to dominate the campaign. With premiers of 5 provinces now actively opposed to the policy, the fault lines across the country are only deepening. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, those protesters who interrupted the Prime Minister in Ottawa weren't the only ones speaking out about climate change today. Young people across Canada hit the streets.
Climate change is a growing issue that I think a lot of people know about, but they don't necessarily take it seriously. But we need to start doing that, or else we're going to see some irreversible changes.
Politicians need to know that this is serious and that this matters to us.
We want to save our planet before it's too late.
Students walked out of class to call on governments at all levels to do more, saying they're the ones who'll have to deal with the consequences. The actions are part of a so-called Fridays for Future movement. A Swedish teen activist started it last year, and it has since spread around the world. And Ian, on that note, thousands of other students were also protesting 2 very different issues today in 2 different provinces.
And Andrew, let's start in Nova Scotia, where a day of demonstrations has ended with action from the province. These players made sure their voices were heard loud and clear after the decision to ban rugby in public schools was announced. The Athletic Federation claimed rugby was more dangerous than hockey and soccer, but the players were adamant the benefits far outweigh the risks. In fact, they collected more than 23,000 signatures on a petition to bring it back. It appears it may have worked. That's because this evening the province stepped in and demanded the game be reinstated. Kayla Hounsell has this look at how the day unfolded.
Today at Lockview High School, the rugby teams were determined to send a message.
We're not just going to sit back and we're not just going to accept it. It's not okay to just take away an entire sport.
In downtown Halifax, around 200 more students demonstrated outside a celebration of sport luncheon.
Bring it back! Bring it back!
The Athletic Federation said its decision was based on 5 years of data that shows concussions in rugby are occurring more than 4 times more than in hockey and football in Nova Scotia. This week, a player was injured during a match in Cape Breton, and last year, a Prince Edward Island player died after suffering a head injury.
We could not allow, knowing that we all agreed that it's unsafe, we had to unfortunately discontinue it then.
But a number of healthcare professionals said the data may have been misinterpreted, partially because rugby officials have so thoroughly reported concussions.
Open and honest communicating, promoting that they report their concussions so that they can get the proper care, so they can see the therapists and the doctors that work with them, and now they're being punished.
Then, late this afternoon, the Nova Scotia government ordered the Federation to reinstate the program immediately, saying it made the decision without appropriate consultation with school communities, citing the strong concerns about the decision from the medical officer of health, and asking the Federation to thoroughly review and assess available research.
Absolutely, just so ecstatic, so thrilled. Yeah, it's just been crazy turnaround from all this. So just got off the phone with all my buddies. They're going absolutely crazy, so just a great outcome.
The future is still uncertain, but he hopes this means he and his teammates can get back to playing the sport they love, and that the controversy might start a conversation that makes all sports safer. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Fall River, Nova Scotia.
Students in Alberta also took part in protests today against proposed changes to the law around gay-straight alliances, which they say could end up outing gay kids to their parents.
When I had finally gotten into a GSA, I was out, but had I not been out, it would have been incredibly important for my parents to not know, because it takes a lot of time for a kid to come to terms with it themselves, and you can't expect a kid to come out to their parents when they can't even accept themselves yet.
There are GSAs across the country giving high school students a safe place to meet with peers and talk about sexuality. The United Conservative Party says it supports that aim, but it wants to give teachers the right to inform parents that their child is in a club if the teacher feels it's necessary. The previous NDP government amended the law to forbid disclosure, arguing it could put kids at risk if their parents object to homosexuality. Aaron Collins spoke to protesters today, including one who made a big decision.
It's a walkout that spanned a province. Students showing their concern that gay students could be forced out of the closet.
And it should also be entirely up to this person, the individual themselves, of when they want to come out, because it's definitely a very personal and beautiful moment that should be dictated by the student themselves and not the government.
The organizer of this protest says Alberta's new premier needs to listen.
And your message for Jason Kenney?
Message for Jason Kenney is, please don't go through with this policy.
But Jason Kenney isn't changing his mind, and he has a message of his own for the students.
I'd suggest better for them to do rallies or protests after school hours and not during them. We want to make sure young people are actually learning in class instead of doing politics.
In Edmonton, thousands of kids ignored that advice. They were joined by the former NDP education minister who enacted the ban on parental disclosure.
This idea of outing gay kids is unacceptable, not just in the court of public opinion, but it's definitely the wrong thing to do.
In Calgary, the protesters were cheered on by some who came out long before GSAs were a thing.
Just seeing this unity, these amazing kids making a difference, it's amazing.
And also inspiring. Today, while justifying her role in organizing this protest, DeLong came out to her classmates as bisexual.
Well, I just sent a message to the walkout group chat and kind of told everyone that way. And I never actually told my parents themselves, so I guess they're going to find out on the news.
Aaron Collins, CBC News, Calgary.
The Kenney government plans to enact an education bill prepared 7 years ago by the former progressive Conservative government. It would eliminate the requirement that private schools have public policies on protecting LGBTQ students.
Now to a major development in the worldwide fight against AIDS. A European study has found that antiretroviral drugs can completely prevent the transmission of the AIDS virus, HIV.
Conclusive evidence once and for all that if you're HIV positive and you're on effective treatment, you're sexually non-infectious. Your risk of transmitting the virus onto somebody else is zero.
The study followed nearly 1,000 gay couples who had sex without condoms, but one of the men in each couple had HIV and was taking the drugs to suppress the virus. After 8 years, not one of the HIV positive men had infected his partner. Doctors say the results are a powerful sign that AIDS may one day become a thing of the past. But as the CBC's Vicodopia reports, it'll take more than just science to stop the spread.
On the front lines of HIV treatment, antiretrovirals have been known to reduce the risk of infecting others. Now, the latest science confirms that risk is zero, a relief for people who are HIV positive.
I'm excited, I'm happy, and it's a long-awaited news where for us to be able to, as a community or people who are living with HIV to know and to be reassured that, listen, we can no longer pass HIV on to our loved ones or to anyone who we'll have sex with.
Gareth Henry is part of a high-risk group for infection in Canada. Together, Black and Indigenous people are less than 9% of the population, yet make up almost half of new HIV cases. In total, there are about 2,400 new cases reported in 2017, up 3% from the year before. Getting tested still remains one of the biggest barriers to controlling the spread of HIV. This infectious disease specialist estimates as many as a quarter of people with HIV remain undiagnosed and untreated, which makes them infectious. Stigma is part of the problem.
There's a lot of attitudes towards people with HIV that are unfair and unjustified. There's a lot of feelings towards people who are at perhaps elevated risk of HIV acquisition because of how HIV is transmitted biologically, that in turn pose barriers to perhaps doing the best that we could be doing at encouraging testing, encouraging treatment.
The hardest population to reach is IV drug users, the main driver of Saskatchewan's HIV epidemic, the highest infection rate in Canada. But the province has made strides, expanding testing, covering most drugs, yet access to treatment still isn't easy.
Whether it's the clinics here in Saskatoon, whether it's outreach workers out in remote rural reserves, we need to make sure that we're funding those folks so they have an adequate response, because right now we're asking them to do a Herculean effort.
The World Health Organization has warned if infected people are left on the margins, the number of those living with HIV in Canada and the world will continue to grow. Vicodopia, CBC News, Toronto.
And it's worth noting that one antiretroviral drug called Truvada is used by people who are HIV negative to avoid being infected. Health Canada approved it for that purpose in 2016.
Here's some other stories we're following tonight on The National. The Royal Canadian Legion is responding to a story we brought you last night involving the hate group Soldiers of Odin.
If a branch or an individual is misguided, then we'll inform them of what's going on, and we'll stick to our guns. But the Legion will not tolerate any kind of groups like this in our ranks.
The comments come after we reported that the local Grand Prairie Legion had hosted an event for a branch of the anti-immigrant group. The Legion says it will be taking action to prevent decisions like that in the future.
Just hearing the news this morning and what's going on, it's just unbelievable how close things actually are.
People in a neighborhood just north of Toronto are coming to terms with a fatal shooting overnight at a post-prom party. The victim, who hasn't yet been identified, died from a single gunshot wound. Police arrested two teenage boys just blocks away, and they found a handgun nearby. They haven't yet been charged in connection to the shooting. And we are on royal baby watch tonight. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have kept birth plans private, but there are signs that Meghan Markle could go into labor very soon. Today, Prince Harry canceled a trip to Amsterdam next week. The couple's first child will be 7th in line to the throne. Thomas Douglas spent the day in Windsor, where baby fever reigns.
Where better to toast the baby-to-be than at the Prince Harry pub? And what better to do while this town awaits a special delivery?
Baby Sussex royal baby. Who knows? Hope it's soon.
I'm sure she does too.
Yes, I think she does.
Ever since their nearby wedding, Harry and Meghan have become the faces of Windsor, though they're known to keep a low profile here and keep locals guessing about their baby's due date.
Harry once came in here years ago. He sat at the back there.
That's it. That's the last time anyone's home.
That's it. That's it.
Harry and Meghan are staying away from the cameras that have been set up here in Windsor for several days now. They're said to be holed up in their new home, Frogmore Cottage, on the grounds of Windsor Castle, keeping the details surrounding the birth of their first child secret. Leave it to the local brewery to find just the thing to celebrate. It's the Queen's official provider of pints, after all, and they've renamed their Windsor Not beer Windsor Baby. Until, well, whenever that baby arrives.
The longer it goes on, the better, because the longer the promotion will last, and maybe we'll sell a bit more beer even.
After showing off that growing baby bump for months, the Duchess of Sussex has gone on maternity leave, and unlike her sister-in-law Kate, Meghan isn't saying where she'll give birth. The message from this royal watcher: get used to the secrecy.
He doesn't want his child to grow up being in the spotlight. I think one of the reasons that they moved to Frogmore was to have more space. You know, both Meghan and Harry felt like Kensington Palace was a bit like a goldfish bowl.
The world likely won't often get to see the royal baby, and for now, he or she is keeping even those famous parents waiting. Thomas Dagle, CBC News, Windsor, England.
Along with the rest of the world, ahead tonight, the Pop panel takes on a Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition first, drops next week, and it is a talker.
And Caitlin Osmond, one of Canada's most decorated figure skaters, reveals why she's retiring at 23.
But first, the harsh new reality in places of worship. Armed guards, strict searches, and planning for the worst.
They're going to have very heavy prayer books and Bibles. Throw them. You do whatever is necessary to stay alive.
Hundreds of small groups, families, friends, neighbors, all gathered to watch the eclipse today using a variety of viewing devices, special glasses, welder's lenses, cameras, and telescopes. Groups of amateur astronomers, many of them from the United States, were greatly relieved when they awoke this morning to find that the weather forecast had changed. Everyone had over an hour to watch the moon slowly move between the sun and the earth. Many schools, heeding the warnings of eye doctors, kept students in their classrooms to watch the show on television.
Who would rather have been outside?
Many parents allowed their children to stay home so they could see the eclipse outside. For some, it was lonely. For others, a family affair.
Is it covered up yet?
No,
okay, long way to go.
It's almost finished.
As the moon blocked more of the sun, people began to look forward to totality, when the moon completely blocks the sun. Winnipeg became quite dark even before totality. The streetlights came on and motorists turned on their headlights.
And you see the way the moon is breaking up. There's a mountain on the moon which has taken a sliver of the sunlight off, and now it's disappearing. That is, in effect, one of Bailey's beads.
Despite the warnings of experts, people who had no eye protection couldn't resist taking a peek now and then. And then totality. People could look safely without eye protection.
Oh, isn't that a magnificent corona? And the corona is, I think, as I said before, very globular in appearance, but streamers coming out in all directions. I am absolutely enthralled. There's a beautiful, beautiful red prominence down about 7 o'clock. There's another one up about 10 o'clock. Magnificent.
Oh, super. Look at the happen. Completely dark.
What do you think of that, ma'am?
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Really beautiful. Exciting.
What do you think of the sight, ma'am?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's really exciting.
What do you think, ma'am?
It's just incredible. It's incredible.
And after totality, the diamond ring effect. Though many people stayed indoors because of the warnings of eye doctors, those who went outside seemed to agree it was the show of a lifetime.
This week, the FBI arrested a Seattle area man for allegedly threatening to personally execute the U.S. president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, as well as ongoing threats to synagogues. His Instagram, a collage of conspiracy theories and violent anti-Semitism. The FBI affidavit noting his recent purchases, a sign of what could have come next.
The horrors of the Holocaust did not put an end to anti-Semitism.
This is also Holocaust Remembrance Week in the U.S., and less than a week since a deadly attack on a California synagogue, a time when the threat of violence against Jewish people is ever present. All of this is leading to changes at synagogues. As with other targets for mass shooters, like schools, a security mindset has set in. Stephen D'Souza explores how spaces focused on spiritual life are dealing with threats of death.
At morning service at Kehilath Jeshurun Synagogue in New York's Upper East Side, the congregation prays in peace inside, while outside, armed guards search every visitor. Entry is tightly controlled. Families here pay a fee for security. Cameras are everywhere, while an active shooter emergency plan sits in every pew like an airline safety card.
You're sitting in that pew, you go out that door.
Protecting the synagogue and adjacent school has been a priority since 9/11. But after recent shootings at places of worship, preaching safety and security has taken on a new urgency.
In my life, I never imagined that I would be sitting and talking to detectives from the counterterrorism unit.
New numbers show the growing threat. Physical assaults against the Jewish community in America are up 105%. The number of anti-Semitic incidents is the third highest in 4 decades.
This is outrageous. Jews should be able to be safe, just like everyone else.
While federal grants are available to increase protection, some smaller places of worship have had to become creative. At this church in Florida, armed off-duty police officers are among the parishioners.
They come like they're coming to worship. We believe in the element of surprise.
Here, the congregation is becoming well-versed in the refrain of active shooter response: run, hide, or fight. They're training members to form a safety brigade to respond if there's an attack, where survival means nothing is sacred.
They're going to have very heavy prayer books and Bibles. Throw them. You do whatever is necessary to stay alive.
The synagogue in California where the recent shooting took place didn't have guards out front. Federal money for that had only just come in. In New York, it's one of many layers of security.
Whether they're enough, God only knows.
A new normal where safety takes more than a leap of faith. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
On Sunday, Adrian brings us the story of a man who was inside that synagogue in California, a man who desperately tried to save the woman who jumped between the gunman and the rabbi. Bloodshed he's seen before. This was something different.
Shimon Abitbol knows violence, knows about saving lives, knows about fear. In the summer of 2006, during Israel's war with Hezbollah, we were with him as rockets rained down on his community. That was war. But what happened to Abitbol last month in California was a type of terror he says he has never known before.
I took my grandson and ran outside.
He was in the Poway synagogue when a murderer started shooting. A man finally able to let his guard down who thought he was safe suddenly wasn't. Trailed by trauma. That's Sunday on The National.
And we have a lot more ahead on tonight's show, including the photos that have a lot of people talking. A Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition model like no other before.
This is literally a dream come true. I can't even tell you how this feels like.
History making, yes, but what it'll actually amount to depends on who you ask. The Pop Panel looks at why that is next.
It is late Tuesday afternoon in the press room of the Woodstock Bugle. Another edition is coming off the press. Within hours, it'll be in the mails and on newsstands in Carleton County and beyond. And readers will learn of beauty queens and cattle rustling. Journalism's oldest and its most durable form of grassroots contact will have been renewed. The Bugle is one of 20 weeklies in New Brunswick, and like weeklies everywhere, these papers are currently in their heyday. The reason is technological change. A combination of computerized typesetting and photo offset printing has turned most weeklies into sound business propositions. The change is felt everywhere. In northern New Brunswick, David Cadogan owns and publishes papers for Newcastle, Chatham, and Dalhousie.
For less than $25,000 now, a weekly newspaper can have typesetting equipment that will do as good a job as anything anywhere in the world.
Does that tend to explain why you see nowadays a lot of new weekly newspapers starting up?
Yes.
It's just easier for people to get into the business?
With the electronic typesetting equipment and centralized web offset printing plants, a person can get into business pretty cheaply.
Computerized typesetting is a far cry from the old clanking linotype machines which used to churn out hot lead type. Now the output from this electronic assistant is so-called cold type. That is, type neatly imprinted on paper in column-sized widths. These paper strips are then mounted on makeup sheets for the actual newspaper page. The completed page is photographed and the resulting negative used to prepare a metal plate which is clamped on the press to print the paper. This technology has been around for a while, but it's only lately that the weekly press has felt its full impact. David Henley publishes the Woodstock Bugle and the Victoria County Record in Perth Andover.
The circulation of the town here is only 5,200, but our circulation is over 7,000. So we get out into the community, into the highways and byways where daily papers don't reach very effectively.
Not since the 1800s has there been such a burgeoning of weekly papers in New Brunswick. Things are so new around the weeklies that some of them don't even like to be called weeklies anymore, preferring the term community newspapers. The new economic strength has allowed the weeklies to spend more on editorial content. Sometimes their beat becomes the world, and the best of the papers take their responsibilities very seriously.
I'm often criticized for being negative. I think that reporters should err on the side of being negative, because let's face it, most people are inclined to tell the rest of the world and anyone who's interested how good they are. So since it's our job, perhaps to strike the balance.
If you want to feel the fabric of the individual areas of New Brunswick, your best vehicle to do that in is the local weekly paper.
The good moments come when you see that paper come off the press, and when you see that paper being read by the people in your town and discussing the news that's in it. Those are the things that build your confidence in what you're doing.
So now, at the Woodstock Bugle, another of those good moments has arrived. The paper is rolling off the press, the women who put the various sections together are on the job, and for readers in the middle St. John River Valley, journalism's most personal contact is about to be renewed. David Folster in Woodstock for New Brunswick Report.
It's almost beach season, and that means Sports Illustrated is about to drop its annual swimsuit issue. But this year, there's something a little bit different about it.
Halima Aden, a Muslim-American, hijab-wearing model, posing in a burkini in a magazine devoted to sexy beach bodies. I never thought I'd see the day.
I guess I don't quite see the point of provocatively displaying a woman who's wearing clothes designed not to be provocative is really. I'm Stephen Marsh, a random Toronto writer.
I'm Huda Idris, tech entrepreneur and writer.
I'm Ashani Nath, senior editor at Flare.com. Yes, this is likely a way for Sports Illustrated to grab some headlines, but it also expands our definition of who is considered beautiful, and I'm fully here for that.
Look, I get how this is confusing for people, but for me, there is a greater good here.
It's kind of a hilarious summation of our moment. I mean, these Sports Illustrated editors clearly want to have their cake and eat it too. You know, virtuous and objectifying.
Alrighty, so Wednesday next week is the big day for the swimsuit edition, and for those of you who weren't already aware, it is their single biggest issue all year. The magazine comes out every 2 weeks, but in terms of readership, sales, ad revenue, the swimsuit edition crushes them all. It's a big issue for Sports Illustrated. So Huda, maybe I'll start with you, and because just in literal terms at least, it is historic that this is happening.
Absolutely. I think in a lot of ways it's so different what they're looking to do given their audience and what Halima is doing in changing the game up a little bit, which is how she described it.
Right. Yeah, Shani, just your kind of visceral reaction when you heard the news?
You know what? I'm really excited. I agree. Like, I think it's potentially a shift in what we consider beautiful, what we consider sexy, or trying to push that narrative forward. I think it's also important to remember Sports Illustrated needs to sell issues, and they knew this was going to get attention, so it's also a bit of a headline grab.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it right now.
Exactly.
And Stephen, if I understood your position in the opening correctly, you think this is brave, honest, and entirely appropriate.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I just think there's some moments, especially in these dark times where things get so evil so quickly, where we should just revel in the absurdity of our time. Like, you know, I mean, this really is one of these things where, like, satire is dead. Like, you know, I mean, this is a kind of Don DeLillo novel, a Mordecai Richler novel kind of moment where it's like you have the display of a dress explicitly designed for modesty in a magazine designed to be basically pornography for people who don't want pornography.
Right. So you think this is silly altogether?
Well, it's a Sports Illustrated edition, so, you know, it isn't like a, Shakespeare, right? Like, it's not like, I don't think it's super important or anything like that, but I just think it's hilarious. I think it kind of encapsulates the contradictions of our moment and the contradictory position of people like these swimsuit issue editors who, I mean, they must have found themselves in such a complicated position where they're trying to, like, objectify women as they've always done, and then not objectify women.
Right. Okay. So let's try to go through some of these issues one by one, and maybe an appropriate way to start is by letting Halima Aden speak for herself, and she's pretty excited.
Like, this is literally a dream come true. I can't even tell you how this feels. Like, growing up in the States, I never really felt represented because I never could flip through a magazine and see a girl who was wearing a hijab.
Okay, so here's the question I have out of that, and Huda, maybe I'll have you answer this. If one of the goals is to kind of, redefine and rewire how we think about women who wear the hijab, of all the fronts on which to do this, I mean, this is kind of a strange one, no?
I don't know that, and what Sue was saying earlier, I don't know that it's hilarious or ridiculous in any way. I think it's pretty predictable. Lots of other magazines have done something similar, and I think what's interesting is Sports Illustrated basically doing their version of Diversity of the Month. They're basically coming out and saying, well, we've never done this before. Let's do it. See what it's like as for a first. For the Muslim community, I think, especially for the group that Halima speaks most to, which are Muslim women growing up in the West, growing up in the United States, and either not seeing themselves represented or finding these stages where they're somehow left out of. And I think that's the cool part out of all of this. It's super powerful for her to operate in a world where women are objectified, where women are scantily clad.
But that's kind of the point, right? I mean, is there not a weirdness to saying, hey, look, we can objectify all sorts of women of all ethnicities and all religions.
Look how good we are. Look how virtuous we are. We've figured out how to objectify all kinds of women, even women wearing clothes explicitly designed so that they're not objectified. Right. I mean, they had that amazing quote from the PR person, which was like, pilot your own beauty.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, Polina, the supermodel, is also in this topless, right? And it's like, yeah, pilot your own beauty, but, please take off your top for us at the same time. I mean, the contradictions are, well, that's possible too.
Yeah.
But I think that we have to acknowledge that there's a pretty inherent contradiction here, right?
Yeah,
I think
is the importance lessened, right, by the forum?
A little bit, but I think they're also trying to signal to a new audience. Like, they're trying to bring in, I think, women. This has never been an issue that's been targeting women. But Halima doing this spread is hugely empowering in a way to a certain demographic of women who want to see themselves.
Do you really believe, are you telling me that you think women are going to buy the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition to flip through to read it?
I think they're going to pay attention to it in a way that they haven't in the past.
But interestingly, I mean, so I was looking at statistics from a few years ago, and the readership for the swimsuit edition is actually about 77% male, and the rest female. So there's a more sizable proportion of
seeing what
readers.
men want.
I don't know that Sports Illustrated is looking to change their readership. I think they're looking to get lots of headlines. They're looking to get people like us talking about it. They're looking to get more social media buzz around it. And they're trying to look like the good guys who are not leaving the poor Muslim women out.
Yeah, exactly. Of their gaze.
So,
precisely, though. You think it's ridiculous. I think it's completely predictable.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm happy that it's not. I think it's a step forward from last year where they tried to jump on the Me Too movement and have naked women with like words on them and that kind of thing. So at least it's Halima, how she has chosen to be represented. And she feels that it's empowering, and I'm here for that.
And it's also how she's chosen to be represented for several years now, right? It's not just a kind of one-off random experiment. So if we look back at Halima Aden's journey, I mean, 2016, she became the first fully covered Muslim contestant to compete in the Miss Minnesota USA pageant. 2017, she became the first hijab-wearing model to appear on the cover of a major US magazine. 2018, she appeared wearing a hijab on the cover of British Vogue, and that was a first in the magazine's 102-year history. So Stephen, maybe I'll punt this back to you. I mean, is it, as Ashani was saying, just a step forward? I mean, what else would you expect from a magazine that sells sex?
I think, you also have to take a look at some other trends, which is like, for one thing, the swimsuit contest in Miss America died the year after she appeared. Playboy stopped doing naked pictures around the same time. And what is happening here is that the specific social function of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition, which was pornography for people who can't get pornography, is dying because anyone with a phone has access to all of the nudity in the world. So what's happening here is it's not wokeness or some kind of like progressive politics that's requiring these people to take these, big steps, big cynical steps to try and get attention. It's just the fact that the marketplace for this particular kind of disguised nudity is disappearing.
Okay, so then Huda, maybe I'll ask you the question. Would it make any difference to you if all Sports Illustrated was interested in was making a quick buck? I mean, does their intention even matter here?
Absolutely not. I think we're fooling ourselves if we think they're doing this for anything other than headlines, et cetera. And there's probably a flavor of tokenism sort of mixed in there somewhere. I think from Halima's perspective, she's taking every opportunity that she's getting, right? And you can't fault her for that. She's operating in a world where so many opportunities are kept from her.
Oh, sure, she's getting paid. I mean, no problem with her.
For sure. Yeah. And I think it's empowering for her to be given a stage like this. And I think it's important for her to be showing lots of Muslim girls and women out there that there's not just one way of wearing a hijab. There's not one way to be a Muslim woman in the West.
And so is that the bottom line then, in the sense that even token representation is still representation?
I think especially in this scenario where the swimsuit issue, like Sports Illustrated puts up all of their covers from the past, way back to 1964 when I believe it first started. And they look shockingly the same. Now, we don't know what the cover is going to look like yet, but to me, you have to have some baby steps before you can really
before
see
you can
the
stop
change.
publishing altogether, which is the real aim here.
Because I guess one of the other questions is what would appease your sensibilities at the end of the day?
No, it's not a question of sensibility. It's a question of the marketplace, right? I mean, this is not the idea that we would even consider the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue a venue for political progress is hilarious. I mean, that's what I mean by it's hilarious. It's a bit absurd.
I guess the real test for them, whether this is a sort of genuine move in a particular direction, may be what they decide to do next year, right? In their next swimsuit edition, how that'll look, who they'll include in that version.
And that'll be whatever's on trend, I think.
Yes, exactly.
I think, Muslims in general are, first being like vilified on the global stage, but also are being given representation. And, Playboy did something similar with Noor Taguri a couple years ago, I think, in a similar way. So I think it's just going to be whatever's on trend. And Muslim women who are fashionable and beautiful are apparently on trend right now.
I got to wrap with one more question, and that is if sex sells, who here is buying? I mean, who plans to pick up that edition of Sports Illustrated next week?
I can't remember the last time I bought a magazine.
I'm not 14 anymore. I'm not 14 anymore.
So just no interest whatsoever.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy it either. For me, it's all about digital.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Up next on The National, we'll look at the lessons learned from the flood of the century.
The emotional toll that it took on us. So we're not 100% there, but we're 95% there.
We'll take you back to Grand Forks, North Dakota for a look at what's changed more than a decade later.
First, though, a look at an interview you'll see here Sunday. Dan Rather. He's 87 years old, and as the former anchor of CBS Evening News, he's covered a lot, including the Nixon presidency. And consider how he sees the current U.S. administration.
Well, this is much more serious than Watergate. Watergate involved crimes that were domestic crimes, Americans against Americans, the president undermining the Constitution. In the case of what's going on now in our country, and one reason I say it's a dangerous time for America is the factor of the foreign power. It is a fact. And the Mueller investigation just underscored, italicized, put in great big headlines the fact the Russians mucked around in the American election.
Only a few hundred passengers survived the sinking, and only a handful of those are still alive to see the pictures of the ship as it is now. One of them is Eva Hart. This was Eva with her parents just 3 weeks before they boarded the Titanic. They were on their way to a new home in Winnipeg. They never made it. But Eva survived and still carries vivid memories of that night. We reached Eva Hart at her home in Chadwell Heath near London. Miss Hart, what was your reaction? What went through your mind when you found out that the Titanic had been found?
Oh, well, of course, my immediate reaction was that I, just as it always has been, that I hope they would never raise the Titanic. Because to me, just as a very ordinary individual, it is my father's grave, and I would rather it were left untouched. But today's wonderful news of this tremendously scientific effort makes me realize that if that sort of skill can possibly in future do marvelous things for these matters, well then of course I accept that it probably will be done.
Your memories of that night must be very clear.
They are indeed.
Can you tell us something about what happened?
Well, you know quite well what happened. The ship struck an iceberg, and I, like all 7-year-old children, of course, was in bed and asleep. But my mother wakened me, and my father went with my mother, and took me and placed me in a lifeboat, and my mother, and made no attempt to get in himself. But I really do owe the good fortune of my living to the fact that my mother had a tremendous premonition of disaster from the first time that she knew she was going in the Titanic.
Really?
And she said that to say that a ship was unsinkable, which is what the whole world was saying, to say that was flying in the face of God. And she begged of my father not to go. But when we finally went, she said, well, I shall not go to bed at night in that ship. I shall sit up at night and I shall sleep in the daytime. And that's exactly what she did.
That's
and
remarkable.
So because she was wide awake, we got on deck in plenty of time to get into one of the all too few lifeboats. So I feel I owe my life to that premonition.
But your father did not get in the lifeboat. Why was that?
Why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know the rule of the sea, don't you? Women and children first. No man is going to take the place of a woman or child.
And by the time the women and children were in that lifeboat, it was full.
Absolutely.
What happened then?
Well, we rowed away from the ship as fast as we possibly could, of course. And then it was discovered that the boat that I was in was very much overcrowded. And so the boats were all called together, and people would put one in another boat and two in another boat if there was room. And in that transshipment, I got separated from my mother, which was quite terrifying.
You were separated from your mother?
I met her the next day, of course, aboard the Carpathia. She thought that I'd been dropped in the sea when I was put over the side of the boat. And I was too terrified to know what had happened. I didn't even think about it. All I knew was that she wasn't there, which was quite terrifying.
Semenya on her way to a 30th victory here.
Olympic champion Caster Semenya won what could be her last 800-meter race today, just 2 days after losing a landmark case against the International Athletics governing body. Semenya challenged rules designed to limit testosterone levels in female runners. She says she won't take hormone-reducing drugs, meaning she won't be able to run races between 400 and 1,500 meters. Cyclone Fani tore through India's eastern coast today, swamping low-lying communities and forcing more than 1 million people to flee. Torrential rains and wind gusts of more than 200 kilometers an hour have been reported in the region. Neighboring Bangladesh already has 400,000 evacuees as the cyclone tracks its way.
We're fighters. The community's been through a lot with the tornado and then the flood the year before, and we just try and pull together, and it's neighbours helping neighbours, really.
Spirits seem to be improving along the Gatineau River floodplain. The water has begun to recede, though there's still lots of work ahead, drying out homes, assessing damage. It's a different story on the island of Montreal, where local councillors voted today to extend the state of emergency. Across Quebec, more than 10,000 people have been forced out of their homes.
Our government, we move quick, I think, as each and every one of you know.
The Ontario Premier Doug Ford announcing the creation of a task force to address future flooding in the Muskoka region. The province also expanded its disaster recovery program to include communities there. Homeowners can apply for financial aid, but only for principal residences, not cottages. Also today, the federal government says it's contributing $6 million to the Red Cross. It will be distributed to the worst hit flood victims across the country to a limit of $600 per family. As parts of Canada deal with more intense spring flooding, we've been looking for solutions that have worked elsewhere. And tonight, Cameron McIntosh takes us south of the border, where people found the will and the money to make some big changes.
Grand Forks, North Dakota didn't just flood. It burned. Electrical shorts caused by water more than 1 meter deep destroyed 11 buildings as 55,000 people were ordered out of the city. At the time, the largest mass evacuation in modern U.S. history.
So this is it. This is where it was. So this is what we saw on TV.
22 years later, John Bonser's voice still trembles talking about it.
Those were the doors to go to Bonser's, and you had to watch it burn down on TV. We did, from 80 miles away. That must have been an absolutely helpless feeling. It was. Yeah, it was.
Every day he walks past here. The waters of the infamous 1997 Red River flood of the century have long passed. Bonser has rebuilt, but the scars don't fade.
The emotional experience that was, and the emotional toll that it took on us. So we're not 100% there, but we're 95% there.
The Red River runs along the border of North Dakota and Minnesota, north into Manitoba, right through Winnipeg. Narrow and flat, when it rises, there's nothing to hold it in. It just spills. See that marker? That's the 1997 flood level.
Even in a moderate flood year, this debris shows how high up here the water can actually come. It's the reason Grand Forks and East Grand Forks decided to pull back from the river behind a series of flood walls and levees.
About 25 kilometers of them run along both sides of the river. It took 10 years and almost $500 million to design and build.
In 1997, I was the city engineer and director of public works.
Ken Vian, now a city councillor, helped lead the flood fight and recovery, which included decisions after to abandon entire neighborhoods.
The city did make some tough decisions, like, you couldn't redevelop in these areas.
Thousands of people moved to make way for levees and flood walls. Riverfront land was converted to green space. This old neighborhood is now a campground. Homes that once had riverfront views now look out at levees.
We had one opportunity to do it right, and that's what I think we accomplished.
An hour south, Fargo-Moorhead is upstream on the Red River. Here, the river is narrower but just as volatile. 10 years ago, these communities almost went under.
Fargo shut down businesses and schools for 10 straight days to fill millions of sandbags. It left the town dry but weary.
And every spring I can feel the anxiety in the community build up.
Mayor Tim Mahoney says the city can't afford another close call.
We estimate if we had a flood like Grand Forks, it would cost us $18 billion.
Fargo is bigger than Grand Forks and has bigger plans.
The first structure along the route is
a $2.7 billion dam and flood diversion channel that would run 48 kilometers around the city. It's similar in concept to Winnipeg's floodway, but it's been a tougher sell for Fargo because it hasn't lost a flood fight yet. Now, after 10 years of design and lobbying, the funding and political support is falling into place. The town even voted for a sales tax to pay for it, hoping to avoid another 2009.
It's amazing what you can do if you get people to do it. Do you want to do that effort in the future? No, it's way too much work.
The diversion project goes ahead. What does your land here look like?
It'll have water on it.
Here's the thing, to divert water, you have to put it somewhere. In this case, Matt Ness's farm, one of several south of Fargo, soon to be expropriated.
I think it'd be almost next to impossible, or is impossible, to recreate this and find a like location like this.
Losing this land could knock them right out of farming. Making it worse, it's never actually flooded here before.
We were told from the beginning, from some of the leaders, that there's winners and losers, and we feel like obviously we know we're on the losing end of this. This is the red right here. Yep.
He's been to court, appealed to politicians and regulators, holding out hope the project can at the very least be modified. But work on the channel's inlet, halted briefly in court, is clear to resume this spring. It's a lesson that keeps hitting home in the Red River Valley. To control the water, hard choices need to be made.
What we've tried to do is work very hard with the upstream people to try to come to some resolution of some of their issues.
Today, we are a stronger, better community because we have this protection.
In Grand Forks, John Bonser doesn't fear the river, confident the city did make the right, albeit hard choices.
You need to stick together as a community.
Coexisting with a river that dictates its own terms. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, in the North Dakota, Minnesota, Red River Valley.
And ahead on the National, Caitlin Osmond is hanging up her skates, at least her competitive ones. Why she's retiring from the sport she loves in our moment.
The last 2 years, every time I hit a podium, I wasn't craving to hit the podium again. Every time I hit it, it was another treat.
You know how many theories there are about why the Beatles broke up. I bet you, how many have you heard? 35?
One or two.
You got too rich, you got too isolated, you got too tired. Lennon got too radical. What's your version?
That we'd come full circle. It was actually kind of a 10-year period, the main thing. A surprisingly short time, really, I thought. But we started off in Liverpool, and we wanted to go and be famous, wanted to write a lot of songs and have a lot of success everywhere, which is basically everyone's aim. You know, any group starts up, that's pretty much what they all want. So we wanted to do that. Once we'd done that, and once we'd conquered places like North America and stuff like that, I think we began to feel that we'd done it, and that all we were now going to go into was just do it twice. And for the Beatles and the whole thing, I think people started to think, we don't really want to do that. And I think the other factor was that we were also getting to the age when most people leave the army and get married, or leave the club.
You're bringing in the wicked women here. The wicked women who broke up the Beatles.
Let's bring them in. Bring in the broads. No, so I think the point was that during the Beatles was the only relationship we were really had time for. And we tried other relationships, but you know, they'd end in divorces for the other guys, and breakups and stuff. Because you couldn't really compete. No women could compete with the Beatles.
That was just a joke, bring in the broads, right? Mm-hmm. But God, it must have been wild.
Yeah, it was wild. Sure. Next question. She wants to draw me on this. How wild? And just what form did this wild take?
I'm thinking of something that you said about you and your own wife, that you'd sowed so many wild oats you were prepared to be quiet.
Yeah, well, that was true. You know, like a lot of people of my generation. I mean, let's face it, you know, for a young man, heterosexual young man, that's what you're after. You know, let's not try and kid people around here. You know, that's what you go to clubs for. You don't go for the food. And
this is your reason that you've given for not going on tour. That the only point of going on tour is to attract women.
No, not going to clubs. I've given that reason why I don't go to nightclubs and discos now. Because the main reason I went was to find women, to be with my own peer group, you know. And when you get married, it depends who you are, but in my case, that knocked all of that on the head. I wouldn't dare she'd get a rolling pin out, you know, she'd kill me.
Did something that belonged to you and still belongs to you, or you may feel still belongs to you, die with John Lennon? A possibility of becoming Rodgers and Hammerstein, of having a mutually inspiring relationship, partnership, business and writing partnership for your whole life?
Well, that actually died a few years before John died. We'd stopped writing together a few years before that. So the collaboration thing stopped with the end of the Beatles, which was about 10 years before he died. So I'd got used to having lost that. And yes, something did die when you've got as good a collaborator as John.
But then he started saying those nasty things about you, that you'd become an Engelbert Humperdinck, that you were a bore.
It's true, yeah.
Did you ever reconcile?
Muzak, that was another.
Are you still a little hurt that you didn't get a chance to clean that up?
A little? You kidding? When someone like John Lennon says you're Muzak? Yeah, it was very hurtful. But one thing I knew about John was that he shut his mouth off very often about things. So that there was a point that, you know, and he deliberately wanted to say crummy things about me.
Why?
He was hurt.
Regal monarch at the top of her game and proud grandmother.
I think the Queen and her grandchildren are all very close. They're getting to the age now when they want to help.
Elizabeth on The Passionate Eye, Sunday at 10.
Well, she's a three-time Olympic medalist and a world champion. But Caitlin Osmond is ready to put that all behind her and say goodbye. The 23-year-old Canadian figure skater announced her retirement just yesterday, and today she explained her decision. She tells us why the timing is just right for her in our moment.
It was a long decision. I had decided personally a little while ago, but it took a full year. I wanted to take the full year to step away from the competitive sport completely and experience that and see how I felt about it. When I hit the world's podium and I was standing there, I looked around and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to stop. I always loved being on the ice. I remember going into the rink before school in Newfoundland when it was freezing. Still see me on the ice quite a lot. I'm always doing shows, always doing tours. I love that side of it. I don't think I'll ever be able to put that fully behind me. And then also I'm trying to find who I am outside of skating.
She's what, just 23?
Yeah.
And I remember interviewing her around midnight in Sochi after what she described as a disappointing night in the singles competition. And even then, at that point, I remember thinking she is mature beyond years. We should point out, though, Andrew, that Sochi also went well in a different category.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the team event, right? Where Caitlin Osmond, she was a part of it, along with, you know, other skating superstars of the Canadian variety. You know, you think of Tessa and Scott, you know, Patrick Chan. They won silver, I think, in 2014, and then in 2018, they did one better. They won gold. So, my gosh, she's got a lot to be proud of.
So as we talk about her transition, because as she pointed out, she'll still be skating in shows, let's also take a moment to reflect on what you just said, this golden age of Canadian skating. So Moyer and Virtue, Duhamel and Bradford, Patrick Chan, and of course Osmond, all world champions, all Olympic medalists, all skating at their prime at the same time. So this is to the next generation of Canadian figure skaters. That is the National for May 3rd. Good night.
Good night.